Hey YouTube, this is Luke back again with another video, but this time I'm going to go over and show you how to cape out your deer to get it ready for the taxidermist, skin it out, and also quarter it up to get it ready for processing, which will be in another video. That this is a doe, but when you cape it out, same rules apply for that big buck that you shoot, so just keep that in mind. And I'm going to go over the first few steps that I like to do. Alright, now this is step one. We're going to cape out the deer to get it ready for the taxidermist, for your typical shoulder mount. Now, the first thing you do is you take the deer, just like that. Then what you're going to want to do is take a knife, go up the leg, and you can see the line, see the armpit, and you're going to go cut straight up. And what you're going to do is you're going to go straight up and you're going to make a U all the way up to the top to where you got it, or make your first initial cut to get the deer. Then you're going to go leave it there halfway and do the same thing on the other leg. Follow it up, follow this armpit line up, and go all the way up and make a U. And this way the taxidermist has enough brisket to do the mount. I cut. Now, this is where a lot of guys go wrong, is they cut too short. What you want to do is, just to be safe, go middle of the body. Right about here. That means you'll have plenty of extra cape and the taxidermist won't give you any crap. Just take and cut. And make sure your knife is always want to tend to cut up, not down, just to be safe. And the more meat you leave on the body and not the hide, the better off you'll be. And then I like to usually take the brisket down as far as I can first, just to see where I'm at. Kind of see where I'm going with this. Now the tricky part is getting this brisket. It always helps to have another guy hold the leg, spread it out or whatever, you know. Do what you can to help get the cape off. You just got to watch for the hide and cut the meat. You should be able to see it once you get in here. Then if all goes well, you should find the base of the neck. Now if this is your first time skinning, usually you should see where the hide meets the skin, or where the hide meets the meat, and you should be able to make some cuts. Now I'm kind of going through this a little fast, but like I said before, the less meat you get on the hide, the less fleshing needs to be done. Now, typically on a buck, I'll skin it down about halfway to the neck, and then I cut it off with a saw, and that should be good. And this is what you should have. Kind of hold this out for you. Something like that. This particular customer that we did, he cut the throat to let it bleed. I wouldn't advise doing that, especially on a buck. But that's what it should be. And then it's ready to take to your taxidermist, and he'll skin the face out and get the horns off the head. Now for the rest of the deer, you're going to want to make a cut around each of the back legs. And in doing this, there's a tendon in the back. You don't want to cut that, otherwise your deer will more than likely fall right off the gamble. And once you have that cut, on each side, somewhere up in here, typically I just take the knife, try not to cut into the meat, cut up. Then what I like to do is just follow this down. You can probably just pull it off. I'm just cutting it. If you can, always give it a pull. It's always faster. Now the first thing that I like to do is cut out the tenderloins. But first I got to trim away some fat. And I'll show you where those are located in a minute. Now as you can start to see as I'm trimming away, the tenderloins start to appear. Kind of follow along. small tenderloins, but they're out of a doe. Now next what I like to do is cut out the back straps. But first I got some fat trimming to do. So just kind of take your knife, just kind of graze it, don't try not to cut into the meat. Now you can start to see the back straps. Next, then what you want to do is make your one cut like that. Second one, take your knife and just hug it up against that backbone and try to cut as much meat off as you can. Down to there. And then just take your knife, hug up against that rib cage, or the backbone, and cut off as much meat as you can. Like I said, it always helps having a second guy to help hold the deer. But I've done this by myself many times, so. And there you go. That's one back strap. Thing on the other side, take your knife, hug the backbone, this one's fairly easy. I can probably just pull this out. That is backstrap number. Now next, we are going to be cutting off the front shoulders, which is fairly simple, and that is used for burger meat. Mostly, that's what we do. Kind of a bony blade right there. Same goes for the other side. Now, also typically on a bigger deer, like a buck, let's say, 180, close to 200 pound deer, I'll cut the neck off and I'll cut that off for burger, but then I'd just leave the body for the coyotes. Just like that, right down the middle. Then what you're going to want to do is take your saw, cut the leg off right about there. Hind quarter. And here is the end result. We've got the two front shoulders right here, which I showed you. The two back straps. Tenderloins, which was the first thing I cut out, best eaten, good with eggs, and then you got the two hindquarters, which are right here. And that is all ready to be boned out, as I like to call it, and processed, and I'll show you how to package it up and put it in your freezer.